shade of pale green. So that's your first clue. It's a large intestine slide. Okay. But anyway, okay.
Well.
Okay. But yeah, they used a special stain on this to highlight the goblet cells. They light up in red. Everything else is pale green. But even this is at scanning. I can see my mucosa. There's my submucosa. Here's the circular layer, the muscularis. There's the longitudinal layer, the muscularis, and you see the green stripe on the outside edge will be my serosa.
Okay, so the muscularis starts at the connective tissue?
And this gap wouldn't have been there in life. The microtome blade pulled that away when it went through it.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what that was.
There wouldn't have been a gap like that. That's an artifact of the fixing and staining. That would have been all tightly together, like it is over here. The microtome blade pulled that apart there.
Submucosa,
Just happened to be in the slide that I got. First thing you notice is there's no villi. See, it's flat, like a tabletop. There are no finger-like protrusions. That tells you you're not in the small intestine. Okay. And we see goblet cells, gobs of them, so we're not in the stomach, because the columnar epithelium in the stomach doesn't have goblet cells. So no villi, goblet cells, big, tall intestinal glands. Each one of these is an intestinal gland. There's some little sections of them down there. It tells us we're in the large intestine.
Because it's flat and it's green.
Right.
No villi.
Okay. No villi. We do have intestinal glands, though, big, tall ones. See, there's an intestinal gland there. A test tube shape goes down here, folds, goes back up like that. See all the goblet cells in it. There's a nice one there, big, tall intestinal gland. This is lamina propria in between the intestinal glands, your basement membrane.
So it's in between them.
Right, in between. Lamina propria in here. Let's go to hydri, and each of the red circles is a goblet cell.
Yeah.
So lots and lots of goblet cells.
So you wouldn't have been able to see those goblet cells had you not stained it? Is that correct? Or?
No, we can see them. They just look like we saw them.
They just stained them?
Yeah,
for
they used a
no
special.
reason?
They used a special stain. This slide actually is entitled "Goblet Cells." Its purpose was to highlight the goblet cells, but it happens to be a large intestine slide. Okay. Now we saw goblet cells in the duodenum, the jejunum, and they look like grainy textured bubbles.
Yeah.
They were clear.
Yeah.
Here they used a stain that would stain the mucus red,
Yeah,
so
I was
that
just
they would
curious
really stand out.
why they did that.
This actually is a goblet cell slide was the intention, but it happens to be a large intestine slide. Okay, so there's some of your intestinal glands with the goblet cells in them among the columnar cells, and then between you can see your lamina propria. Down at there's lamina propria there in between. See, there's an intestinal gland, that's an intestinal gland, there's lamina propria in between.
Okay.
We go down to the bottom, there's our muscularis mucosae right there.
Yes.
That's smooth muscle, muscularis mucosae. From there up is the mucosa of the large intestine. Evelyn, have a question? Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
So the mucosa is kind of where it's like swirly, like, yeah. Or not?
Where
or is
the
it just
intestinal
straight across? Because you can kind of see where it's like straight across, and then it gets gaps and kind of. Okay.
Right there is muscularis mucosae.
And then
now, once you get in here, you're in areolar connective tissue. You're in the submucosa.
Okay.
So now we're in submucosa, and see, we get it's quite vascular. See, there's an artery and a vein. So we're in our submucosa now.
And so you'll have arteries and veins in your submucosa,
Yeah,
liver and your.
Right, you're not going to have those in your muscularis mucosa. It's extremely thin and it's all smooth muscle. Okay, we go down a little farther now. There's our circular layer of the muscularis. And we're in a cross-section view.
Yeah.
Because the circular layer looks longitudinal, but we're in a cross-section view. So we see the circular layer, the muscularis. And then there's our longitudinal layer. Fibers are coming at us with the long axis. So they don't look like fibers, they look like cells. That's your longitudinal layer. And then, let's see, right in there, I've got a big artery there, but okay, here over here. There we go. Right in there, there's nervous tissue. There's our myenteric nerve plexus around the artery and the vein there. Auerbach's plexus, then the longitudinal layer, and then what's this?
Serosa.
There's your serosa on the outside edge. Okay, So those are the features we see of our large intestine. That's at high drive. Here's that low power. Good look at our muscularis and circular longitudinal layers. Artery and vein with a little bit of Auerbach's plexus in it. Oh, there's a bunch of Auerbach's plexus right there. There's a big gob of Auerbach's plexus right in there. Big bunch of it. Okay. And then there's our submucosa, and then the mucosa. Okay. Large intestine.
No villi.
No villi. Okay.